Welcome. This is the Senior Safety Advice Podcast, and we are so glad that you've made it to a calmer corner of your day. Here, we focus on real solutions, practical help, and the kind of encouragement we could all use a little more of. So let's get to it.
There's something most caregivers never say out loud, and that is, I deserve kindness too. But it's true, you do. And today I'm going to show you why self-compassion is not selfish at all, and how it can actually make caregiving feel lighter on your mind, in your heart, and your body. In the next few minutes, you'll learn some simple ways to stop beating yourself up, how to refill your emotional tank, and how to talk to yourself the same way you talk to the people you love. I'm Robin Schultz, a certified dementia specialist, and I've spent years helping families through the hardest caregiving moments. So I promise these tools come not just from research, but from real life. So let's get into it. When you're caring for someone you love, you carry a lot, right? And it's not just the physical load, it's the emotional weight too. The worry, the constant wondering if you're doing enough, or did I miss something, or why do I keep losing patience? You know what I mean. Most caregivers tell me they feel guilty more often than they feel proud. And I get it, I've been there. You try so hard, you want to get it right, but here's what I've experienced and what I've seen again and again. Caregivers who practice self-compassion don't burn out as quickly, they feel steadier, and they can handle tough moments with a lot more grace. So let's talk about what self-compassion actually means. It doesn't mean bubble baths and scented candles, unless those help you, of course. It's actually just treating yourself with the same grace and kindness you give to someone else who's struggling. That's it. It's saying, I'm human, I'm doing my best, I deserve understanding and not criticism. Here's what I mean. Think about what you would say to a friend who's exhausted and overwhelmed. You wouldn't say, well, gee, you should be doing more. You wouldn't say, what's wrong with you? Why can't you handle this better? Instead, you would say, hey, you're doing the best you can. Anyone in your position would feel the way you do. You're doing something incredibly hard. So, why don't we talk to ourselves that way? One of the most powerful tools you can use is something called a self-compassion pause. Takes about 10 seconds, and it helps you come back to the present instead of spiraling down into guilt and frustration. When you feel the tension building, like maybe your loved one is asking the same question for the 53rd time, or you're running late, or you're feeling that tightness in your chest or in your stomach, stop for a moment and say to yourself, hey, this is hard. You're naming the moment so your brain stops fighting it. Then say, I'm not the only one who feels this way. Because face it, every caregiver on the planet has felt frustration, fear, sadness, or been overwhelmed at one time or another. And the third thing is to say to yourself, I deserve kindness in this moment. You're reminding yourself that your needs matter too. That's it. 3 steps. And caregivers tell me it helps almost immediately. It's like turning off the pressure valve. Another part of self-compassion is letting go of the idea of perfection, which I know is tough. Caregiving can feel like every choice matters, and it does, but not every choice has to be perfect. Sometimes good enough really is enough, and sometimes doing your best looks different from day to day. I remember when a caregiver told me, I lost my temper today, I'm so mad at myself. And I asked her, did you apologize? And she said yes. So I said, well then, would you forgive someone else for doing the same thing? And she said, of course. And I said, then you have to forgive yourself too. She thought about it for a minute and then later told me it had changed the way she thought about her role. She realized she was allowed to be human. And I want that for you too. Another simple way to practice self-compassion is to check in with your basic needs, because I do know how easy it is to let that slide. But trust me, your body keeps score. If you haven't been sleeping well or eating well or even taken a small break on occasion, everything feels worse. So try asking yourself once or twice a day, what do I need right now, even if it's small? Maybe it's just taking a break long enough to get a glass of water. Maybe it's 2 minutes of deep breathing. Maybe it's stepping outside and feeling the sun on your face for a few minutes. Tiny little resets like this help a lot. You know how airplanes tell you put on your own oxygen mask first? People roll their eyes and snicker, but it is true. If you cannot breathe, you cannot help anyone else breathe either. And caregiving needs you to be steady and grounded and as rested as you can be. So again, not perfect, just good enough and steady enough. And here's something else that people forget. Self-compassion also means recognizing the things you're doing well. Caregivers rarely give themselves credit. So try this tonight. Before you go to bed, say out loud one thing you did today that helped your loved one. Could be something tiny like, I helped Mom stir cream in her coffee when she couldn't do it. Or I made sure Dad's lunch was warm the way he likes it. I kept going even when it was hard. Just one single sentence like that can shift your whole perspective. Because caregiving is not measured in grand gestures. It's measured in moments. The meal you planned, the hand you held, the appointment you kept track of, even the moments where you wanted to scream, but you chose patience instead. That's an act of love too. You're doing more than you realize, and you deserve compassion for it. So let me leave you with this simple truth. Cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot lift someone else without grounding yourself first. And you cannot keep going without giving yourself grace along the way. Self-compassion is not selfish. It is survival. And it just might be the thing that keeps your heart steady on the hardest days. So thank you for joining me today. If this episode brought a little peace to your day, share it with someone you care about. Maybe someone who could also use a reminder to have a little self-compassion. You'll find more resources for seniors and caregivers at seniorsafetyadvice.com, and come back tomorrow for another daily moment of guidance and encouragement right here on the Senior Safety Advice Podcast. Until next time, take care. Bye.
This podcast is part of our mission to help older adults live safely and independently. If you'd like to take the next step, visit aginginplacedirectory.com, where you'll find specialists, helpful resources, and inspiration to make every home your place to thrive.